The Sydney Morning Herald splash is a good one. Mask use falling as virus cases rise again. Premier Gladys Berejiklian has moved to address complacency over coronavirus in Sydney, telling businesses they face significant penalties and harsher rules if restaurants and cafes continue to flout COVID protocols. The warning came as New South Wales recorded 8 new locally acquired cases yesterday in 2 separate clusters, the highest number in the past 3 weeks. And of course, the secondary on page 4 is that the Queensland and New South Wales premiers have not spoken in weeks, and that of course comes off the back of Brad Hazzard, the Health Minister, and Gladys Berejiklian today describing the border restrictions and the hotel quarantine draconian measures applied by the Palaszczuk government as cruel, playing politics and un-Australian.
Well, I certainly agree with the Premier of New South Wales, and if Annastacia Palaszczuk doesn't want the hundreds of millions of dollars of tourism spending from Sydneysiders into Queensland, well, she is doing her state a gross economic disservice. And she wants to continue playing some sort of state of origin hard border game with Gladys Berejiklian instead of actually looking at solutions that can be implemented, particularly for communities and families on the border with Queensland who are missing out on vital health and education services. So, yes, it is un-Australian, but it's also economically really irresponsible to a lot of those industries in Queensland that are suffering, that could do with the extra dollars.
But Kristy, it's not just also about the economic narrative, it's also about the compassion and the empathy narrative. We've got cases here in Queensland. The most recent, of course, is 71-year-old Gary Ralph, who's sitting in a hotel at the moment, quarantining for 14 days when his doctor, he's just undergone brain surgery, he's got brain cancer. He's essentially, been given a short amount of time to live. He should be at home at his Windaroo place. Now, every time the New South Wales government asks for an exemption in Queensland of someone like that to actually rehabilitate at home, they're saying no, no, no. No discretion, no empathy, no compassion. We've seen it with funerals. And yet, and this is where it's really angering a lot of people, there are exemptions being granted to Hollywood stars, AFL footballers, entertainers. If you've got a little bit of an in, you get the tick. But if you've got brain cancer and your life is, in the balance, that fella, by the way, has fallen over twice in his hotel in the last 48 hours. I mean, this is the extraordinary thing. Anyway, I digress.